Determine f 543 of 1 for the function f of x equals 1 over x. So here we're determining the 543rd derivative and then evaluating it at 1 for this function f of x, which is 1 over x, but that can be rewritten as x to the negative 1 and make use of the power rule. The first derivative will be bring down the negative 1, subtract 1 from the exponent. The second derivative will be bring down the negative 2. Negative times negative will become a positive, and it will be a 1 times 2, x to the negative 3. I'm going to write it as 1 times 2 instead of multiplying them so we can start to see the pattern. The third derivative will be a negative 1 times 2 times 3, x to the negative 4. The fourth derivative will be a positive again, and then 1 times 2 times 3 times 4. The double negative made it positive. When we put a 4 down there, we subtract 1 from the exponent, so x to the negative 5, and on and on. Now from this pattern, we should be able to determine the 543rd derivative of x. So the first thing to notice is it's alternating in sign. It's a negative for each of the odd derivatives, and it's a positive for each of the even derivatives. Well, our derivative we're finding, the 543rd derivative, is an odd number, so we want a negative right here. Also notice the number coefficient. For the first derivative is a 1, second derivative 1 times 2, third derivative 1 times 2 times 3, fourth derivative 1 times 2 times 3 times 4, so we can speculate it will be a 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times on and on, all the way up to 543. So all those numbers multiplying each other. And then we have an x raised to an exponent. Notice the exponent for the first derivative is negative 2, second derivative negative 3, third derivative negative 4, fourth derivative negative 5. They're all negative, and it's one more than the order of the derivative. So we'll be a negative exponent here. Since we're doing the 543rd derivative, we should have a 544 power. Now we can write this a little bit simpler. We have a negative 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 all the way up to 543 is called 543 factorial. And then we have x to the negative 544 power. And we can therefore rewrite that by moving it to the denominator. So we have a negative 543 factorial. That's all just a number. And then over x to the 544 power. There's our f543, or the 543rd derivative. Now what we want to do from here is evaluate this at an x value of 1 by plugging a 1 in for the x. So we have negative 543 factorial divided by 1 to the 544. Well, 1 raised to any power is still going to be a 1. So that'll be over 1. Anything divided by 1 is itself. And so our final answer is negative 543 factorial.